YOLO composing gloves here. Today we have a free Convolution Reverb plugin for you. It's called Convolgy, which I'm saying Convolgy rather than Convology because that is how it is said in the videos by the company. So that's the pronunciation I'm sticking with. All of the reverb on my voice and sound in this video is by Convolgy, and here are a couple demos. Convolution Reverb uses a mathematical process called convolution. In a similar way that addition takes two numbers and produces a third number, convolution takes two signals and produces a third signal. What two signals are we mixing to get a third? Well, the first is an impulse response from a space. This response characterizes how the spaces respond to hearing frequency ranges, so it will encode the space's sound into it. In fact, the impulse response can be encoded from gear as well, allowing for accurate reproduction of vintage gear. This response is then convolved with the second signal, which is our music or our audio source, which then results in the third signal, which sounds like our audio as if it had been in that original space the impulse response was taken from. This is what this plugin is all about. You can see and hear several great examples of classic gear and reverbs of different implementations. Plate reverbs involve sending your signal through large metal plates to affect it. However, the units were generally very big, heavy, and very expensive. But you can see them right here and hear them as if you had them. Spring reverb is found in all kinds of amps and is pretty easy to set up, and once again can be modeled by convolution. And of course, all the outboard gear, all the algorithmic spaces can be modeled using convolution. On top of this, impulse responses can capture spaces so you can replicate them as well. From caves to churches, an impulse response can make it sound like you were there. Granted, the plugin is free, the impulse responses you're seeing are not. Personally, I like this kind of business model. It's similar to the 3D graphic software Blender. They give you the engine for free, but the tools they would like you to purchase. You can of course load your own impulse responses, but I can vouch for the high quality in the impulse responses provided by Impulse Record. This also allows you to supplement for reverbs that you do not own currently. Maybe you have a great spring reverb or a great DSP reverb, but you want to have some cave reverb. You want to sound like you're in a cave. Well, you can get an impulse response from a cave and bam, you'll sound like you're in a cave. Or maybe you're after some specific plate model of reverb. You can do that as well. The collection you're seeing here is called the XT Complete Collection. Because of how convolution works, it's also a great sound design tool and is actually the foundation of some distortion units. This is how filters work as well. Sometimes long reverbs are desirable, but other times they can cause a lot of mud in a mix that has quite a bit going on. So a delay may be more appropriate. Convolution reverb can often mix the two, the delay approach and the long tail reverb approach, in a much better way than either method separated could do. You also have the ability to reverse the impulse, and also it gives you controls to normalize and adjust the volume, giving you greater control over the sound design results. Reversed impulses often add a great deal of reverse ambience that can be very useful. It is here that I want to bring up the delay and stretch knobs. This allows you to change the scale of your impulse. If you have a long impulse and want a shorter one to avoid long tails, you can do this by simply changing the decay. This adds a tremendous amount of flexibility, and the stretch knob can likewise shrink it further if desired. If you let the decay knob go beyond 1 and bring the stretch knob up, you will find unusual mixtures of results with the impulse. This can give greater flexibility in the reversal of an impulse than the regular reversal option. There is also a stereo chorus provided, allowing for a very nice effect that can be used to sound aged or smooth. To give you an idea of how fast this thing loads, I will load one up right now. You've probably noticed the pictures of gear that show where the impulse came from, which is a super nice touch. The time menu displays the impulse being used, which can be adjusted via the knobs below for greater musical and sound design possibilities. Finally, you have the frequency tab. Here, you can EQ your signal. You can also adjust the decay of each frequency in the reverb itself, which offers a phenomenal option for getting rid of the low-end mud of reverb in a very clean, fast way. It also allows targeting specific frequencies to be adjusted. Since these knobs control decay, moving them while the sound is playing can often result in funky sounds as the timing is being moved around, which is common in any plugin that has parameters that are adjusted that control the time of some delay. And this can result in some pretty fun sounds. Pre-delay puts a delay on the reverb. You hit a note and it's gonna take a second before the reverb comes at you. And this is often cleaner in a mix than it hitting right on. And this is also how it works in the real world anyways. So it kind of makes sense to have. Finally, you have a master knob with some standard controls. So for a free thing, it's pretty dank. If you make some cool things for it or with it, drop them in the comments and have a blessed day.